The Seismic 7, Chapter 13, Part 1. I instinctively pulled back, lining up in tight formation with Wyatt, Todd, and Kinsey as Raquel and Eddie stare in bewilderment. "Miss McNamara!" Kinsey exclaims. "Whose side are you on?" I ask, reaching for my drill. Miss McNamara comes to a halt. "I'm so sorry," her voice cracks, breaking down. So sorry. You have no idea." Miss McNamara's eyes have gigantic bags under them. "Been tracking you down all day. I had to get to you first." "Tracking us?" Wyatt asks. "How?" "Your tool belts," Miss McNamara gestures. "They have GPS chips in them." We all immediately undo our belts, flinging them away from ourselves. "No!" Miss McNamara says, reaching out to stop us and wincing as the belts hit the ground. "Don't do that. You'll break something, and then we'll be doomed for sure." "What are you talking about?" Raquel asks. "Who are you?" "I'm Laura McNamara." She sits down on the edge of the outcrop, rubbing her hands over her face. "And this is all my fault." "You didn't know," Todd says, a look of realization dawning on his face. Oh my goodness, his expression evolves into something like confused pity. I have no idea what to think. I look around, desperate for signs of other hikers across the sunny meadow. I'd feel a lot better if we could reach other people. "Samantha told me you two were here by choice." Miss McNamara turns to Raquel and Eddie. "At least, at first. I thought you'd only gotten locked up later. I didn't know, I swear." "You what?" Eddie asks. "I'm sorry," she gasps. "I thought what we were doing was right. I thought we were saving the world. I thought you two were helping, but wanted to stop, and I knew we were running short on time. So I agreed with Samantha's decision to keep you here against your will. That was so wrong of me, but I was desperate." Eddie does not look at all convinced. He can't read Raquel's expression, but she does take a step closer to Eddie. Disgust at Miss McNamara floods through me. She misled us about Raquel and Eddie. She kept them locked up. She's a kidnapper. And now she wants us to trust her? To believe she's sorry? "Wait," Kinsey says carefully, never one to hide her emotions. I can see the same war raging across her face that's playing out inside of me right now. "Do you know what Dr. Greer is really planning?" "I do now." Miss McNamara hangs her head. "It all came out after your escape. She's trying to set off Yellowstone's supervolcano. She's not trying to stop it. She hates people and wants to kill as many as she can. And she's about to succeed." Miss McNamara's eyes fill with tears. "I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. I thought, for years, I thought—" "Why should we believe you?" Wyatt asks. "Yeah, I agree. You're the one who invited us to join her." "I didn't know," Miss McNamara repeats herself, wiping at her eyes. I've never seen an adult look as disheveled as she does in this moment. It's unsettling. "Please, listen. We have to hurry. I'm no geologist, but I got a hold of the schematics. I think there's a way to stop her." Miss McNamara pulls out a tablet. "I'm not sure, but if you all agree with what I'm seeing, we may still have a chance to save my park and save the world." Trembling from hunger and confusion, I can't find any sympathy at all for her tears. Thoughts crash around in my brain. Miss McNamara sure sounds like she's been honest now, but if she's not? But if she is? I take a step forward, hardly daring to even suggest that I trust Miss McNamara's word, but needing to see what the schematics show. There's a chance we can stop the eruption. It's worth at least a look. Kinsey, looking even more torn than I feel, lets out a guttural scream. Then, after furiously kicking some grass, sends clumps of it flying. She trudges up to the tablet to read. She and I crowd over it, soon joined by Wyatt and Todd. Eddie and Raquel stay back for a moment, but curiosity gets the better of them, and they eventually join us too, though they stay as far away as possible while still being able to check out the tablet. On the screen is a cutaway map of a huge section of Yellowstone's caldera. On one side is the cave we were working in. The Alpha tunnel can be seen going down for a long ways underground, then turning horizontal to join up with the Beta tunnels we spent July creating. Below those, down, 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 is the magma chamber. Miss McNamara swipes the screen. This time, our tunnels are shown to explode at the bottom. Pressure is released. She swipes again. Bubbles build through the magma, causing the rock that was almost cool enough to be solid to melt down and foam, rising up through the Beta tunnels. She swipes a third time. The Alpha tunnel floods with magma. It spews out of the mouth of the tunnel into the cavern. This newly created eruption causes even more pressure release from the removal of mass. More bubbles form deeper in the magma chamber. She swipes a fourth time. The bubbles down deep continue. The rhyolitic magma heats up so much that the basaltic magma below it begins to rise in temperature. She swipes a fifth time. The basaltic magma starts to bubble. From what I remember from my Earth Builder project, basalt is easier to melt. I feel my heart rate kick up. She swipes a sixth time. The basaltic magma heats up so much that it sends hydrothermal fluids up through the rhyolitic magma, making for more bubbles and frothing than the chamber can handle. At this point, this looks like it could have been taken right out of my project. She swipes a seventh time. Everything has melted in the chamber. It's all froth and bubbles now. The explosion of the supervolcano is imminent. She doesn't need to show us another slide. We know what comes next. An explosion that will decimate the Northwest. An eruption of not just lava, but of poisonous gases and gas-filled dust that will cover the continent. Unbelievable amounts of smoke and aerosols will enter the atmosphere, causing the world to drop in temperature so drastically that we'll be sent into winter for 10 or more straight years. "So what's your idea?" Wyatt asked, breaking our horrified silence. "I thought disarming the explosive down our tunnels would result in them blowing up in our faces." "Yeah, Dr. Greer did sort of stress that point when we were laying the blasting powder," Kinsey says. "And she was right," Miss McNamara says. "We can't tamper with the explosives. They're designed to blow if the circuit gets broken. I thought it was a failsafe in the event of a big quake, a way to ensure a tunnel would open to release the pressure during high-risk times for the supervolcano, even if we weren't pressing the button ourselves. But now I see why those bombs were really designed as they were." She shakes her head sadly. "So what do we do?" I ask. Miss McNamara swipes all the way back to the beginning and points at the Alpha tunnel. "We use our actual failsafe. We fill the Alpha tunnel with the cement we've been making out of the churned rock from all your drilling." I remember the vat in the cavern and the cement mixer next to it. Is that what it's been for? We had it there in case something went disastrously wrong, and we needed to close up the tunnels and keep the pressure contained underground. This should also work if the disaster is actually Samantha pulling the trigger. Her face darkens as she says the name of her former partner. "Won't closing off the tunnel just make the lava explode out of somewhere else instead?" Wyatt asks. "There are only 4 tunnels with explosives in them right now," Miss McNamara says. "That's actually not too many. We were aiming for more originally, but thanks to you two," she nods at Eddie and Raquel, "we're still down some. And the tunnels we have are small enough that even if it did trigger some pressure drop, if there's no exit, it should just harmlessly filter up through the earth and then calm down. You might see some more geysers for a few days, and the hot springs may get interesting, but the rest of the fallout won't happen." I wish I had Earth Builder right now. I'm trying to run through this like a simulation in my head, but it's hard without. "We should call for help," Todd says. "We can't risk this not working." At that, I regard Todd carefully. Sounds like he's already set to trust and help Miss McNamara. "If Samantha sees any signs of police or government, she's going to pull the trigger," Miss McNamara says, looking pained. "Right now, she thinks I'm looking for you all to bring you back to her. If she gets the slightest hint that we've alerted any authorities that I've betrayed her or that you 6 have found a way to get the word out, that's it. Game over." We have to take care of this as secretly and as quickly as we can. The world literally depends on it. My heart skips a beat. The thought that all it would take to set off the supervolcano is Dr. Greer getting spooked. Oh my goodness. But how do we get back in there without being seen? Todd asked next. That I don't know, Miss McNamara admits. But everyone's out looking for you kids right now, so the caves will most likely be empty. Maybe our escape artist masterminds can help. She looks hopefully at Raquel and Eddie. Eddie and Raquel have been silent this entire time, and I've been anxiously waiting for them to weigh in. I don't like this, Eddie says, arms crossed. You conveniently say we can't call for help. You track us down before anyone else does, and even though you say you didn't know what Greer was planning, you kept us locked up for months, forcing us to work for you. That makes me really not feel like trusting you and definitely not feel like helping you. What about you, Raquel? Raquel squares her jaw and looks out over the meadow. She's quiet for several moments, and we all are too. Miss McNamara fiddles with her hat in her hands. I don't want to trust you either, Raquel finally begins, turning her gaze back on the woman. Benny and Lucy died because of you. I don't care if you weren't the one to kidnap us. You let people keep us as slaves. That's just as bad. Worse even. Raquel's voice trembles. You're going to have to face that evil inside yourself somehow. Miss McNamara stops her fiddling and stands frozen in place. I don't know if you want your park to blow up. Maybe that means more to you than our lives. Raquel pauses, then turns to the rest of us. You know this woman better than we do. Can we trust her on this? My eyebrows shoot up. I look at my team. Wyatt and Todd don't look certain, but clearly don't want to say no. Meanwhile, Kenzie's eyes flick between Raquel and Miss McNamara, lingering on each for long stretches of time. Her idea is the only one we've got for keeping that supervolcano from erupting, Wyatt points out, sounding as exhausted as I feel. That's true, I say. I turn back to Raquel. She's done terrible stuff for sure, but I don't know what other option we have here. Maybe think of it as less helping Miss McNamara and more helping to stop Dr. Greer. She and Eddie exchange glances.